Welcome back, guys. So we've got a little bit of more information concerning the Neo Geo Mini. So this website here, Journal du Geek, I believe it is a French website. I do have it translated to English right now. They're covering the same thing that all of us, pretty much did, talking about the system coming out. But this article doesn't really go over any new information, but what it does do is show off a handful of what appears to be box art for the product. And you're going to notice something immediately different here. This is just like I stated for the Japanese release, was going to have the colored buttons on the actual unit and be of a different color. So you see this version has the red trim, the different color joystick, and then the colored buttons, the more traditional colored buttons. Everything else about it is pretty much the same other than the mini marquee. You can see the mini marquee does have different logos for the artwork for the games, but I do find a couple other things odd. There's no, I'm not really seeing any kind of source on here for these images. It just seems like leaked box art or packaging. The packaging seems fairly cheap, but I don't know. This is obviously for the Japanese Asian market, more so Japanese it would appear. But as you see, like here's the controller for the additional controllers, and it's still, you got the buttons sideways comparative to the originals. The bottom buttons would be A and B, and then the top would be C and D. Now, some people had told me that, hey, the way they designed this is to appeal more to people who are into King of Fighters because it plays better with this layout. I can't speak to that and say if that's necessarily true or not, because I'm not the hugest King of Fighters fan. I do have a Neo Geo AES with the original version of these controllers and the arcade stick, and I have fooled around with King of Fighters a bit, but I've never been extremely into it, so I couldn't say for sure. But that would make sense because there's a lot of weird things I'm noticing with this. But we spoke about in my previous video about kind of a little bit of the history of SNK and how they have been acquired by a Chinese company, and that this product is being put out by that Chinese company, SNK, right? And King of Fighters was extremely popular in Asian countries compared to the US anyway. A lot of people, even a lot of people in my comments section said, hey, yeah, they're from China or Korea, and King of Fighters was just what they grew up with and was awesome, and it was a game that they really loved. So to me, that kind of speaks to this product a little bit, that it almost seems like if these guys that are telling me this button layout is more optimal for King of Fighters, and then the game list actually being dominated by the King of Fighters franchise, makes sense, for a Chinese company who would understand, maybe not globally, the popularity and the fandom behind SNK Neo Geo, but would more so understand the Chinese and specific other Asian markets, that they would develop this product with them in mind, with what they know. So that kind of strikes me, that it makes sense, but it kind of is odd at the same time. Now, the other piece of photography they got here, which looks like the back of the box, I immediately notice a few issues with this. Firstly, not an issue, but this is, obviously Japanese. This is the Japanese box art. Everything's in Japanese other than that nice little, hey, this got 40 Neo Geo games included. Check it out. The little red starburst there. Check it out. Open this bad boy up. But I'm sure, you guys have noticed too, just by looking at this. I've counted this. If you minus that little 40 Neo Geo Legacy games included logo, there are 40 little screenshots. But you see that they repeat over and over again. So that kind of strikes me a little odd, that maybe this is just a mock-up or a test box or something. Like, I would hope they wouldn't release this way, in Japan, because I mean, just look at how many times World Heroes is listed. That doesn't make sense. Like, the game they didn't put all those games on there. You know, World Heroes 1, 2, 2 Jet, and Perfect. At least I don't recall them all being on the game list. And then you just see a lot of the same logos over and over again, and the same text on a lot of them. A couple of them will be different, and obviously I can't read Japanese, but if you look at a couple of like the Metal Slugs, for example, this one and this one has the same text, but then up here it has different text. So I don't know 100% what that says. But then other games, like right here, the same text. Right here, the same text. The Samurai Spirits, this one's different. This one and this one, same text. This one, the same text. And, you know, most of the World Heroes have the same text other than, like, this one over here. So that's just something to kind of point out. Like, I'm not 100% with this. You know, down here it looks like this is the contents of the box. It's telling you, hey, this is what's included. If any of you guys understand Japanese, maybe you could decipher what this says down here. Obviously this is an HDMI cable, right? This is AV, so that's going to be an audio video cable, but I'm curious what the rest of this stuff is. One of these has to be the unit, right? But is this going to include packed in controllers, or are we buying them separate? I'm curious if any of this down here says like, hey, you're getting one extra controller or something like that. So pretty neat. I don't exactly know what to make of this, but I did want to point this out to you guys because I thought it was interesting, to say the least. Like I said, there's not really any additional information on this page other than these screenshots or little pictures that they got from some source. I don't know who they got these from. There's nothing cited here. They just have their watermark over the images, and I haven't seen anything else to say where these images came from. But they're just saying, hey, they have, you know, SNK hasn't announced a price or release date. But as shown in these photos of the box of the console, it should not be long. So that sounds like a good thing, but I'm just curious, you know, with this Japanese box art. I'm pretty sure with the people who most likely are going to be handling the U.S. Release and distribution, that, you know, this kind of weird sloppiness is not going to fly. I'm sure the game list is going to stay the same, but I don't think our box art would look like this, just knowing who's most likely involved with this. So share your comments down below. You know, this was just kind of a little tidbit that I thought was interesting. So, you know, when we get more news, I'm going to share that with you guys. For now, this is something pretty neat, kind of legitimizes things, but also raises a few more concerns and questions, right? So smash that like button, subscribe if you have not done so already. And with that said, guys, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out. Bye-bye. Boom.